Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Enigmatica 2 Expert. So, since the last episode, it actually has not been a whole lot of time since last episode. It's been, I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe. I have been working a little bit in here. You'll notice it's kind of a mess at the moment. But I am in the process of working on this. But I figured we'd go ahead and get started on the next thing that we're going to do. So I can go ahead and get that underway, and it's just going to make my life a whole lot easier. And what we're going to be doing today is starting some very basic AE2. Just to make our lives a whole lot easier, we're going to get that underway. So the first thing that we are going to make, we're going to jump straight into it today so we have maximum time to get this up and going. We need to make an energy acceptor before anything else. And I don't believe that there's any quests for AE2. I'm not even sure if there's a gate for AE2. There is a gate for AE2. We have to make a machine case for Industrial 4 going. We are going to make that. So there is a gate for that. I'll have to see what that takes, but there's not a quest line. So anyways, Energy Acceptor. We've got the redstone engineering block. I made up a couple of those. By the way, these can be scanned. I actually just dropped it into the scanner like right before I started up. I don't know if it's scanned yet. If it's fully scanned, no, it's at 31%. But those can be scanned. So, anyways, we're going to need to get ourselves some glass cable, which of course requires Fluix. We're going to need to get some Fluix blocks. We're going to need to get the engineering processor, which takes the Inscriber, which takes the machine case. So we might as well go ahead and start with the Inscriber. The machine case is advanced machine casing, rubber, and reinforced stone. We've got that stuff. Well, I have to order an advanced machine casing, but as you guys know, that's not that's not much of an issue. And I believe these can actually be scanned. I'm going to go ahead and grab the stuff to make 2 of them. And then, because I don't want to wait for it to scan one. But if I recall correctly, these can be scanned. Let's go ahead and pull up the Inscriber. I'm actually going to want a few of these, but what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade to the advanced Inscribers today. We're going to go straight for that. So, anyways, there is our machine case. And quest complete, gate Industrial 4 going. And we get an infinite water source, a latex processing unit, and a machine case. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. So there's our 2 of them. And then there's a gate here for applied Energistics. It says I have a controller. I don't actually have a controller. What that was I picked up somebody else's controller and moved it because they weren't playing lately. And they were close enough to another person's base that it was chunk loaded, so I shut it off that way. But I haven't actually gotten an InMe Controller. But they want us to get an Energy Acceptor and an InMe Controller, which is kind of funny because if you have the InMe Controller, you don't actually need the Energy Acceptor. Oh, it says you only have to obtain either the controller or the Energy Acceptor. Now, the controller actually takes, I think, a little bit more work. Okay, it takes an Energy Acceptor, 2 machine cases, it takes a control circuit board from Advanced Rocketry, which does take a lead control circuit we could pull off. That, technically, we could pull off. So maybe we want to go straight for the controller. That might actually be better. Because all the rest of the stuff is pretty straightforward. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get another machine case. So we've got 3 of them already. And haven't even scanned the things yet. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with the Inscriber for starters. And this requires 4 reinforced stone, a couple sticky pistons, and a Fluix block. Of course, reinforced stone, not an issue. Sticky pistons, which I do have all this stuff turned on because I was looking for things earlier. There's 2 of those. And then we're going to need to get the Fluix block, which requires, of course, Fluix. Fluix crystals, we can make those, of course, with charged Certus, nether quartz, and redstone dust. So let's go ahead. Let's see. I've currently got 19 charged Certus. I'm going to go ahead and just grab every bit of it that I've got. And what we'll do is we'll toss that into the water. And we'll give it a second to combine. And there we go. Unnatural advancement. And Fluix crystal. Okay, so now we need to get the Fluix block, which is just like that. And then we can get our Inscriber. There we go. And then I also want to go ahead and get the charger. Because that's going to be extremely useful for us to make additional charged Certus. And there we go. There's the Fluix production advancement. And then we're also going to want the growth chamber Ideally, this one right here, the AE2 stuff one, it does require 6 of these crystal growth accelerators. So we're going to have to see, do we want to go straight for that, or yeah, we can do that. So let's get 6 of these Fluix blocks, and then we're also going to want to get some ME glass cable, which takes crushed Certus quartz, and then the glass is going to take more crushed Certus quartz. So let me get like a stack of Certus being crushed up real quick. We're kind of just steamrolling through some of these mods at the moment. Just like, hey, new mod, let's steamroll it. Okay, so we just got the Bejeweled 2 advancement for getting crushed quartz. And then let's go ahead and get ourselves 12 of the quartz glass. We're going to need some glass cable, so let's get a bit of that. There's 9 pieces. It's not going to be enough. But, well, actually, yeah, it will, because then we upgrade it and we get 4 per. So there's 16 glass cable. There is 6 crystal growth accelerators. And then our crystal growth chamber is as simple as glass cable, chest, and hopper. And we got a couple advancements. Fluix, energy, and accelerator is an understatement. Advancement. And there's our crystal growth chamber. Pow. There we go. Okay, so now we can turn our attention towards getting the presses and stuff that we're going to need. Let's go ahead and make another RTG for like early power, and then this is going to be temporary, and then we'll probably end up changing over to something else. Because long term, I don't think our entire AE system is going to run off of just an RTG, you know. And then let's pop up to where the AE2 area is going to be. Now, right now, we're not actually going to be able to make terminals and all that stuff just yet. We will this episode, but right now, we just need to get this stuff set up. So let's put the RTG down. We'll put it right here for right now. And then coming off of that, we're going to put the crystal growth chamber. Which actually, I don't know if it's going to get power without a crystal or without an energy acceptor. It's not a big deal if it doesn't. That's not a problem. There's the Inscriber, and the charger actually needs a connection on the top, but that's we'll sort that here in just a minute. The main thing I need right this second is the Inscriber. I just want to get those other ones out of the way. Okay, so over here in, I believe it's the miscellaneous, we have our presses. All 4 of these. And we'll grab a chest to store these in. And then we are going to need to get some silicon, which we actually made some of this before. It requires, let's see, the manufactory. Okay, it was 4 sand ran through the manufactory, gets us the silicon ingot. And then what we had to do was 2 of those makes 2 silicon. Okay, so let's grab ourselves just a bit of sand. And we'll just pop up here. I don't have an RTG over here for the manufactory right now, but let's actually pull this up for the time being. And we'll bring it over to this RTG. It'll get moved back, but I mean, our power situation, it's going to get better for RF. I promise it will. So let's toss our sand in, and it's going to start running, and basically it's going to start breaking that down into silicon ingots. It doesn't take a whole lot of power, as you can see, especially compared to what the Californium RTG produces. And then over here, let's go ahead and drop in the Inscriber silicon press into there. Toss that stuff in there. Because we need to make some presses. Now, the first thing we're going for is, of course, the energy acceptor. And then we'll probably go ahead and push on to an InMe Controller. So we need engineering processor, is really all that we need out of here. And then we're going to have to make some more Fluix. We'll get that in just a second. Which I think this charger, if we put it on top of this, I think it would get power. And I guess we're going to have to make some more charged Certus, so we might as well go ahead and do that. Let's grab redstone, quartz, and let's grab some basic Certus. And then we're also going to need some stuff to make the processors. Let's go ahead and get some gold. Let's get some diamond, and let's get some more Certus for making that. I probably should have grabbed another stack of sand too, but sand will get, or silicon will get easier, but this is just for right now. Okay, so there's some silicon ingots. There is 16 silicon. And then we'll just toss that into there. I'm not going to worry about automating this right this second, because we're going to be upgrading this here soon. Then the Certus we can just toss into there. And if it's getting power, it may not be getting power. Okay, it is. There we go. There is a piece of charged Certus quartz. And I'm going to put some of this stuff away because I've just got a load of stuff on me here. Okay, so there's our first piece of printed silicon. This is actually really easy to automate as well. We probably will. There's other ways that we can do this, though. So we'll see. We'll see how we go about it. But then the crystal growth chamber. Is this working? A good way to check and see if this is working is let's grab ourselves 6 pieces of redstone, 6 nether quartz. No. It's not getting power. Okay, that's fine. It will once we have an energy acceptor. But... okay, so let's go get ourselves a little bit more fluix. Fluix is going to get easier too soon. But... let's toss all that stuff down. And we'll give it just a second. There we go. There's 12 fluix. And then the energy acceptor requires 2 fluix blocks. So let's go ahead and grab those. Then we're also going to need that engineering processor, so let's get the press for that. And a diamond. Toss that in there and get that running. And then we are going to need to get ourselves some of the vacuum tubes. So that's redstone, copper wire, a piece of glass, and a nickel plate. We'll get us 3 of those. And we actually only need 2 of them right now anyways. We'll just put that extra one right there. And then our printed engineering circuit is done. So we're going to drop that in there. Printed silicon and a piece of redstone. And get that running. And we will make this whole process a whole lot easier and faster this episode as well. Okay, so there is our engineering processor. And then we can get our... oh yeah, I need the Certus quartz fixtures, which is just charged Certus and iron. Makes... I can't remember. I made a bunch of these between episodes. Makes 2 of them. There we go. And then we need just a couple pieces of fluix cable, which we've got up here. And then we'll probably go ahead and upgrade to the InMe Controller just because we can. So there is our energy acceptor. Pow. And that completes a quest, the gate for applied Energistics. So we'll go ahead and turn that in, and we get to pick between 64 pure Certus, pure fluix, pure nether quartz. We're going to take the fluix, and then in addition we get some smart cable, some fluix smart cable. So we'll go ahead and take that. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the controller, since that's pretty much just a step up from the energy acceptor. So for this, we're going to need 2 fluix blocks, 2 machine cases, a fluix pearl, skystone, and then the control circuit board, which we could pull off. There's just a little bit more involved to do it, but we might as well go ahead and do it, in truth. So let's get ourselves, let's see, 16 of these. Place them like that, we get our fluix blocks. The fluix crystal, we're going to grind this down to get the fluix dust. And then we're also going to need 4 of these. And we should just be able to run this through the macerator. There we go. And there is our fluix pearl. And over here I did scan that, I believe that's the machine casing, I think. Let's see. Yeah, machine case. It's only 19 millibuckets. Redstone engineering block is only 3.475 millibuckets. So much easier than crafting it, right? I mean, that's like instantaneous craft, or not really instantaneous crafting, but it's fast. It could be instantaneous crafting if we want to do overclockers in this, which we will later on for our automated ones. So let's go ahead and order another machine case real quick. This is why UU Matter was just like, it was so imperative that we get this up and going, because it makes life so much easier as we progress through this pack, because the majority of things, like machine block type things, can be made through replication. So there's 2 of those. And then, let's see, we've got that, we've got all of this. The Skystone, this is also a really easy thing. Right up here, I've actually got Skystone. Of course, this comes from the meteors. So let's grab 2 pieces of this, and all we have to do is smelt it. Really, it couldn't be any easier. There we go. Okay, and then all we need, I say all we need, this is actually the most expensive part. We need the advanced circuitry control circuit board. So we are going to need a couple of these copper coil blocks. Not too bad. So there's 2 of those. And then we are also going to need to get ourselves 4 of these elite control circuits. These are basically just upgraded. We're going to need some reinforced alloy and an advanced circuit, which I'm just going to use the IC2 one because it's super easy to craft. This one is 2, but it's a little bit more involved, I think, than just going this route. Since we have replication, honestly, the IC2 ones are a little bit easier. And then we're going to need some reinforced alloy, which again is just upgraded alloys that we're going to have to do. So our metallurgic infuser, I actually tossed in the 8 speed and 8 energy upgrades that we got last episode. I went ahead and threw those in there because why not? So let's go ahead and run that. See, it's a whole lot faster now. It's a whole lot faster, and you can see 600 RF per tick, but it's actually only needing, what, 80? I don't know. It's not full power yet. We'll give it just a second here to get full power, and then we'll see what it takes. Okay, it's full power right now. So let's do this. How? 600 RF per tick is what it's consuming. That's fine, because the RTG can upkeep that. And it's a bit faster. It's still, I feel like it's slowed down a little bit in this pack. I feel like, but I could be wrong. I don't know for sure. And then to make the elite control circuits, oh wait, we need a few more of these. Because we need 4 of the elite control circuits. I can just make 1 right now. So that's the thing. I feel like with the change to the circuits and how expensive they are, I think it's better just to go ahead and go with the advanced. Because if you weren't doing it this way, you would have to go, for 4 of these, you would have to make, 1 of these. And that's 4 enriched alloy to make it. Of course, these are pretty cheap, but replication's even cheaper. Okay, so there's 4 elite control circuits. Awesome. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make the bioplastic and the circuit board. The circuit board is just 2 vacuum tubes, which we just made some of those earlier. And then we're going to need a copper plate and some insulating glass, which is pulverized iron, green dye, and some glass. Okay, we'll start with that really, really quick. Okay, so there's our insulating glass. That part's done. And then we have to go get the vacuum tubes, and then we'll be set. Okay, there's the vacuum tubes, and then we can get the... what am I missing? Oh, I'm not missing anything. There's the circuit board. Okay, so that's done. And then we need bioplastic. You can also make this quite a bit cheaper in the precision assembler. Of course, that's going to be a little bit before we get that up and going. So bioplastic is just the manufactory with a couple sugarcane. Honestly, it couldn't be much easier. Bioplastic is cheap. Overall, it's not that bad. When you start thinking about making big ME systems, it's kind of like, ugh. But, I mean, we can also automate all this stuff fairly easily to where this isn't going to be much of a concern in the least. So, over here, we've got our manufactory. Toss that in there. And there's our bioplastic power. Okay. And now we can get our control circuit. And we can get our InMe Controller. There we go. Okay. And that pretty much cleared out the inventory there. Okay, so now we can actually start setting up our proper AE system. So we're just going to put, for right now, this is going to get moved and changed. As we get more ME controllers and our proper power system and everything. For right now, we're going to put the controller right there. It's going to get power from the RTG, it's going to keep it running, and all will be right with the world. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and grab our glass cable. We're going to make some more of this here in just a second. We're going to connect up our crystal growth chamber. And you'll notice it says sleeping. This thing will only take power. The standard growth accelerators, they take power constantly if they're plugged up. This will only take power if there's something in it that it can make. And for example, something really, really wonderful that you can do is you can take this stuff and charge Certus. You can toss this stuff into the crystal growth chamber and pow. There you go. So we no longer have to make that in world anymore. And let's see. We're going to go ahead and upgrade the Inscriber now. Because I really don't like the standard AE2 Inscriber. It's too slow and you can't put a bunch of stuff in there and everything. Oh, we are going to need to make a couple of those engineering processors before we do that. So let me grab that. We've got the 2 printed silicon, redstone, and let me take a look at the upgrades for this. AE2 stuff is wonderful, and there's a new item that we're going to be using here soon, which is great. It's just great. Acceleration cards are standard. That is a beautiful sight. We will be making some of those. Not going to worry about making them until we upgrade this thing, but we are going to be making some of those. They're so good. And let's take a look. To upgrade the Inscriber, we're also going to need 4 iron and 2 hoppers. Okay, let me go get that stuff together. I mean, I've got the iron, I just need the hoppers. Okay, so I've got everything now for the advanced Inscriber. There we go. And we'll just set that up right here. We're also going to need to make some more quartz fiber cable. Let's use this, actually. We shouldn't be using regular quartz anymore. So there's some more ME glass cable. And we're going to plug up power like that, is what we're going to do. And eventually I'm going to want more of these. But for right now, what we can do is we can take, let's take the silicon press. We can toss this into here, toss in our silicon, and it's going to start running. And it's going to actually be able to stack things instead of placing one at a time. And so then what we're going to do is we're going to get the stuff out to make, I believe this takes 5 acceleration. So we're going to want calculation presses. And let me go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to make 3 of these first. Oh, wait a second. Is it changed in this pack so that we need, let's see, calculation. Okay, we have to use pure Stardust quartz for calculation. That's perfectly fine. What we're going to do, let's take this. And we're just going to make like 2 stacks to start with. Because if you're making it, you might as well make it right. And let's get ourselves a stack of sand. And we're going to run this stuff through the macerator. And let's go ahead and grab this. I'm going to let that keep running, but for right now this will be fine. And we're going to get our seeds. We've got 14 Stardust quartz seeds. And let's head upstairs. There are easier ways in the pack to do all this, but it's a little bit later. This is like really good day 1 stuff, just to make your life a bit easier. We can toss these Stardust quartz seeds into the crystal growth chamber, and you can see, I mean, it's decently fast. Because basically it's the same speed as if you had 6 crystal growth chambers, which of course is like the maximum for setting it up in world. So you can upgrade to this, and it's just better. And you don't have to worry about wirelessly teleporting items in and out of the chamber and everything. It just, you toss them in here, and there you go. Okay, so now we can toss these in here with the calculation press, and like I said, we're going to start with 3 just so we can get some acceleration upgrades going. And then these are going to be, well, actually, we don't even need that many. That's going to be enough right there. Then we're going to need some iron, diamond, and redstone, which I've got all that stuff on me. Then we'll toss in that, and we'll get those running. There we go. And then we are going to need to make that. And combine it with a little bit of Fluix. I'm going to go ahead and get 6. I'm going to go ahead and make 6 acceleration cards. It's more than what we need, but that's fine. Then we can toss that into there, and it's going to speed it up by a bit. Look at that. And let's get some more. Oh, I'm missing diamonds. And there we go. There's 4 more acceleration cards. Toss those into there. And this one we're going to toss in the crystal growth chamber. Because it does work. It speeds it up. So let's toss this silicon in here and see how fast it is now. Pow. Yeah, see, it's way faster. And TPS right now is I've got to work on it after this video, but because we just have so many people on here playing and stuff usually. So I've got to take a look at the TPS, but still, I mean, that's incredible. That's way faster, right? And then we'll toss in those. And then we're going to toss in one of those, piece of redstone, get that running, make our calculation processor, and I want to make, oops, I need more iron. Okay, let me go grab a little bit more of that. And we're going to get ourselves, oops, 2 more acceleration cards, toss those into there, and now if we take these Stardust quartz seeds, toss those into there, look at that. Super fast seed growth. Like, it's pretty quick. And we will be setting this up to keep, like, 32 or 64 stacks on hand of all of this. So this will just be there. It'll be after we set up like a cobbleworks for sand generation and stuff. But now pure stuff is super easy. The circuits are super easy. I mean, all that's taken care of. And then we have the charger. We'll just set this up right here. We will automate this. I don't know if we'll do it this episode or not. We'll see. If the need arises for this episode, we will. But we'll take a look. Okay, so now that that stuff's done, we need to turn our attention towards a terminal. And naturally, I want to go straight for the ME crafting terminal. Takes a terminal, takes illuminated panel. This is actually pretty easy. We can pull this off like right now. Let me grab that. We're going to need to get ourselves a little bit of quartz glass. I'm going to get a little bit extra of this because we are going to need it as time goes on. And then we're going to need some glowstone, redstone, iron. And there is our illuminated panels. And then for the ME terminal and the crafting terminal, for this we're going to need logic processor, annihilation, and formation cores, which take more logic processors. Pure Certus, Fluix dust. Okay. That's fine. Let me get some gold. Actually, I've got gold up there. I'm going to go ahead and toss in those and some redstone. And we are going to need a calculation processor as well. And we're going to have to get a little bit of Fluix dust. And I think that's the main thing, right? So, crafting the ME terminal, annihilation core just takes nether quartz. Then we're going to need a piece of Certus. I could do the pure Certus. I'm not too worried about it. I've got lots of Certus, so we'll grab that. We'll grab that. Let's go get some dust. Macerate that. There we go. Okay, so that, nether quartz, we get annihilation cores, Certus quartz, we get formation cores, and then we can get our ME terminal. And then the crafting terminal, really all we need is just a crafting table to make that. So let's pop up here. That, ME terminal, calculation processor, and ME crafting terminal. And we got the much bigger table advancement. Woot. And then we're also going to want to get ourselves a couple storage buses. So these right here, we're going to need to make ourselves some ME interfaces, which are formation and annihilation cores, piston and sticky piston. I am going to need to make one more batch of formation and annihilation cores. So give me just a second to do that. But we can go ahead and plug up our table. So we'll just put the ME crafting table setting right there. Alright. And devices online, but we don't currently have anything in the ME controller. So let me get the stuff together to make some interfaces, and I'll be right back. Okay, so our interfaces, let's go ahead and get those. I'm going to go ahead and get 5 of them. I went ahead and made extra formation and annihilation cores because interfaces are just something that we're going to need. So there we go, advancement, recursive networking. And then we're going to upgrade these to storage buses, 2 of those. And there's advancement, limitless potential. And we're going to put down our storage bus, one setting there and one setting there. And then all we need to do is, I guess we're going to use this smart cable. And then before too terribly long, we're going to get the matter condenser. It's a little bit more expensive in this pack. If you haven't looked at it, I think I've shown it to you guys before. But it takes 10,000 pistons and an elite compressing factory. But we'll get the matter condenser and we'll start making paintballs and all that fun stuff. Which actually, I'm curious, is there another recipe for the paintballs within this pack? Or for the matter balls? No, we have to do them through the matter condenser. Okay, so we're going to get that up and going before too long. I know it sounds expensive, but it's actually not that bad. And I would like to go ahead and get it. Well, actually, though, I just thought, what does it take to make the quantum compressor? Okay, it's cheap. It's cheap. So, yeah, we'll get that, and then we'll get the matter condenser before too long. And then we'll color all of this. So, smart cable right there, and then we're just going to plug it into the ME controller. Pow, and now if we take a look inside of the crafting terminal, all of our items are available. And we're going to set it to number of items. And there we go. Haha. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and toss down 2 of the small storage crates from Actually Editions. Toss storage buses onto these. And then we're just going to plug this up with some smart cable. Bam, bam. And then what we can do is if we're crafting something, we have space now to throw things into this. And what's going to happen is they're going to go into the small storage crate. And what we're going to do, let's, right here, let's set the priority of this one to 1. Set the priority of this one to 2. And then let's go ahead and set the priority on these to 1,000 for the controller slaves. So if stuff can go into the controller slaves, it's going to always go into the controller slave. And then it's going to prioritize... wait, I set this one as 1. Let's set this one to 2, I mean. And this one to 1. So if we toss stuff in, it's going to fill up this storage crate and then this storage crate. And so then I can just dump all this AE2 stuff into there, and we can craft from here. And really I can dump all of this stuff into there as well. That's all stuff that we're going to be using. And I can put the presses in there if I wanted to, but we're actually going to be, not this episode, but probably the next episode where we cover AE2, we're going to be automating all the presses and charge service and all that stuff. So the next thing that I want to do, the last thing that I want to do this episode is I want to get into a little bit of AE2 stuff, and I want to get into the wireless connector and setup, the wireless setup kit. So first up, let's go ahead and craft ourselves 3 Fluix pearls. And then we're going to want to make wireless receivers out of these. We're going to need 3 of those. So let's go ahead and dump that stuff into there. There's 3 wireless receivers. And then we need to make the network tool, which this is actually pretty easy to do. Let's go ahead and just get a nether quartz wrench and get the network tool. And then we're going to upgrade that to the wireless setup kit, which they actually do different things. We're going to get a network tool later on and use it, but right now I just want the wireless setup kit. And then we need to make 2 wireless connectors. I mean, they're pretty cheap to craft, all pretty standard stuff, especially now that we have everything tossed into here. And then we're going to take our wireless connector, we're going to set this up. Let's see, right now we have 4, 5, 6 channels on this line. Let's go ahead and just put a... we'll just set this up. This will probably get moved, but for right now, we'll set it up right there. And let me grab a piece of Fluix cable. We're going to connect that up. And then what we're going to do, let me grab one more piece of Fluix cable. What we're going to do is we are going to shift right click that, and it's bound. And then we're going to pop down the garden area. Yeah, right down here. We're going to place down our wireless connector right there. And we're going to shift right click. And now it says connected. Okay, so it's connected up to our AE2 system. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a storage bus, attach it to the bottom of the drawer controller, and glass fiber cable right there. And then all we have to do is just pop upstairs. Okay, I just looked, and this takes 5.64 thousand RF per tick for the 2 wireless connectors. So I tell you what, we are not going to plug those up right now. So I should have looked at that. We don't have enough. We don't have enough. I mean, I could just run some cables down here. I mean, I guess it's not that far, really. It would actually be better for us, because I can run the cable straight down here. I was just trying to use that because it's kind of cool. But it'll be easier to actually just run these cables down. Since I don't have the power for that, I think that would be better to do. So what we'll do instead, and I mean I could make another controller slave and stick that like right up here. Yeah, that's a drawer right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, give me just a second. I'm going to run some cables down here and make another slave. And basically if we just bring the cables up through here, we can pretty much plug straight up into AE2 over here. Okay, so this is the final cable. We should be able to support this on power, just not wireless. Wireless is crazy expensive for some reason. Alright, so let's grab our network tool. We are currently using 18, 19 RF. It's steadily going up, but it's not much. I mean, it's very minuscule compared to what we were pulling with the wireless. So if we take a look now, look at all that. We have all of our Pam's Harvestcraft stuff available, which also means we have paper, we have, you know, all that stuff, all kinds of stuff. Stone dust, just, it's all accessible now. So, there we go. Now we have lots of AE2 stuff. And then if we want to craft things, you know, stuff will get dumped into here, and then it'll go into here, and it's just kind of like an easy network. And then once we have, actually this, I don't really have any use for that at the moment. We will probably end up using it. At least I've shown you how to connect it. We just don't have the power for it at the moment, in truth. Plain and simple, we just do not have the power for it. We won't get rid of all of our storage crates at the moment, but we'll start getting rid of the storage crates. And then once we get discs, then we will get rid of the storage crates around the base for good. So, anyways, I think it's about wrapping up point for this episode. We will continue on with AE2. However, next episode, we are going to start getting into some magical mods, which will be, first up, Thaumcraft is where we're going to be heading next. And then we will probably connect into Astral Sorcery, into Botania, into Blood Magic. I don't know how many magical episodes we'll do before we switch back over to tech, but it will be a few of them. Because I'd like to hit magic pretty good for right now. And then whenever we switch back to tech, it'll be power and AE2 automation stuff. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. And go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys next time.